Welcome to Sonderlings, integrating Troika system. Let the bio ride begin.
Hey folks, welcome back to Sonderlings. I'm Danny. This is Carly, DB, and Jacob. And
Hi.
We're going to be playing Troika more. I like that at this point you shouldn't expect anything other than that. That's what we do. So, last episode, you three competed in an actual race at Bar Diddley's Spectacular Traveling Anti-Derby Plus. You all succeeded really well and got some cool items out of it. Other than that, not tons happened. Oh yeah, that's right. Veighor tried to flirt with Tiffany Bar Diddley, and she was not having it.
Burn.
Burned.
She acted like she wasn't about it, but
Yeah.
we know.
Oh yeah, it was all an act.
Definitely playing the
She's
coin
like
game.
hard to get. She's a fancy lady.
Sounding a bit like my toad at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, great.
At
Two
least
loves
I know where
cooking.
my love is, okay? That toad doesn't even know where Julia is.
Our boat's just going to spin around in circles. It's not going
Wow.
to go anywhere.
It splits in half, just capsizes.
Yeah. So now we're going to zoom in on the party. You've all managed to make it back to the Golden Sailed Barge after the race. You've rested up. You finally had a chance to test some skills. If you actually were able to increase anything, what did everybody get a chance to increase? You had 2 skill tests to go through.
So Quith, for me, the second skill test, obviously I had not really done anything, so I didn't test anything there. Did heal up, so those charred burns from running through a flaming lane are healed. That's good. And my luck is back, so I'm looking okay.
Sweet.
But I did test on the first rest my second sight from rubbing my toad and trying to test against that storm on the way into Bar Diddley's the first time. Since that was our first rest since then, I did increase that twice. Failed
Sweet.
the third roll.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
I didn't increase my mall fighting, but I did increase my desire for Tiffany. So
Okay.
that's
Did
now
you have to
officially
roll
out of
for
1.
that? Did you roll for that?
Yeah.
It was an automatic success.
Which, let's be honest, that's
Sounds
a
like a
skill you could
fail.
definitely improve.
Yeah.
You do need to improve
Yeah,
that
it's-
skill.
Is flirting an advanced skill? Can I
Yes.
test on that?
You have to find someone to teach it to you, though, and I'm not sure any of us are.
Ooh,
Nimbus is
good
right
point.
here. Nimby
Good
boy is
point.
right here for you.
Sounds like you could use some personal time with Pith. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Nimbus, what did you get?
Let's see. I got an increase in climb and run.
Nice. Sweet. So everybody has increased skills. We're doing
Mhm.
good. You're back on your golden barge, or your golden sailed barge with the tree. Don't come at me with, like, you keep calling it a golden sailed barge, but then there's a tree for the sails, and, like, use your imagination, people. It's whatever we want it to be.
Troika, okay? It's supposed to be weird, and I love it.
Yeah, this is what's happening.
They
So
move around.
you're on the barge. Tiffany basically sent you, like, as you were collecting your winnings, she sent you a messenger and was like, hey, I've got some business to take care of. Go back to the barge. I'll come see you off on your travels before you leave, because I assume that you're getting ready to leave. And so she is coming to meet with you, like, right now, actually, just because why not move the plot forward? Give you guys some new stuff to work on. And so you see her sauntering up the gangplank of your golden barge, looking exquisite and sultry as ever. Well, hey, folks, I just gotta say, I really appreciate y'all jumping in on that race for me. I definitely, we got a crowd there, and, we made a tidy sum of money, and I needed to come by and hand you a share of your profits from the race. I know you got your prizes. That's what the public sees, but, They don't need to know that we actually pay the good names to come back. And she holds out a bag of 100 silver pence. And that is to be shared amongst the three of you as like your big group slush fund.
Uh-oh.
So when Tiffany approached this boat, Quith had been on the outer edge. I'm assuming post waking up, we definitely spoke a little bit. And Veighor, I know, has been quite upset with the state of the appearance of our boat, especially now that we are at Bardidley's, a place where there are, I'm sure, plenty of other barges and, modes of transit present, and people who have much more impressive ones. So I had been sent on a small task in the morning to kind of attend to the boat a bit, which to Quith really just means scrape some of that tarry gunk off the side of the boat and add it to my soup. So when Tiffany approached, I'm on the other side of the boat, actively scraping tar off. Though when she mentions 100 silver, I hustle right over and say, well, Tiffany, I'm so happy to see you again. I'm glad you made it back on our barge before we ended up having to hit the road. I would be happy to split this amongst our group. And I kind of reach out to grab the little baggie. I don't know how small or big this baggie is, actually. I don't know how large silver pence in the Troika are. They could be the size of my hand. So on the back of your head.
I mean, they're somewhere around like quarter or gold
3 meters.
size.
Okay.
They're 3 meters.
So I toss this then reasonably sized bag to Veighor, who's standing nearby, and turning back to Tiffany, say, well, honey, before we go, we were asked by that obnoxious headmaster to try to pass out a few of these cards. I know you went to the varsity yourself, so I'm sure you understand the plight. And I pull out a few from my sackcloth robe pocket and show her, and say, is there anyone you might recommend us speaking to around Bardidley's who may have a bit of interest?
Well, I'm not sure I know, but I will say this. There's a lot of folks that would, that'd be mighty impressed to get autographs from the three of y'all. And so, maybe just sign these cards and walk around for a minute and see if anybody comes up and asks for an autograph.
Wait, honey bun, it's like you know what you're doing or something running this business. Beautiful. I love that suggestion.
I mean, there's a few reasons why I am the success that I am. You don't get to my level of business and not have a decent head on your shoulders or two. So here's the deal, y'all. And she also like nudges a crate with her toe that she'd brought onto the barge. Look, I brought y'all some snacks for the road as well. Take a quick tour of the bazaar, if you need to pass out some cards. But, I do have a vested interest in y'all getting on the road pretty quick because I've heard rumors that there's an unclaimed copy of the 1,000-pound canvas hanging out in some of those uncharted spheres y'all are supposed to be making maps of. And, well, I may have acquired a map that could be helpful in y'all at least getting out there so you can do your own charting of them. And so I was hoping, I've always loved the 1,000-pound canvas. I think it's a brilliant work of art. And I would love to be able to do a gallery showing of one of the copies of it here at Bardidley's. And as you know, like, it doesn't, let's think of the way to put this easily. So the 1,000-pound canvas, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it doesn't move. There's just a lot of copies of it scattered throughout the spheres. And it's great because everybody that looks at this thing sees it differently. And so, you might see a nice pastoral scene, whereas Veighor might see a scene of death and bloodshed and chaos. And you're both going to think it's equally beautiful. And it's also equally valid. So what you got to do is you basically got to build around the copies that you find and there's already been a few claimed. There's some nice galleries out there, but I thought it would be fun to kind of set up an installation there. Plus, I'm always looking for new business ventures and ways to increase my brand. And I think this would be a great way to do that.
I am not too familiar with the 1,000-pound canvas myself. When you say it does not move, do you mean that it is indeed 1,000 pounds?
Oh, no, it's just called a 1,000-pound canvas because it's a fixed point in time and space, like the original is, and it will not move no matter what. You could anchor like 82 black holes to this thing, and it wouldn't budge an inch. And so we just call it the 1,000-pound canvas because it's got a nice ring to it. But to be honest with you, I don't know what it is about how it was created, but it seems to have fractured bits of its own reality throughout all the spheres. So you might just be flying through the humpback sky and sailing on down the road and see a copy of it in the middle of nowhere, and there's a really cool copy right at the heart of an anti-sun, and they actually had to tunnel through it, and you get this real fun, trippy experience, because as y'all know, like, if you get too close to an anti-sun, it can kind of mess with your brain meat. Like, not seriously permanently, but it gets real fun. And so there's all these different installations, and those of us in the know, we like visiting all of them, and I would like to curate my own installation around one of these copies, and I've heard rumor that it's out in this specific chart of uncharted sphere space. I mean, whatever that means. But I got you this map, and I know it's a really poorly drawn map. It's just like a base sketch of like what it might be at some point. When, you know, certain people get off their ass and finally draw a copy of the map.
Maps are a little hard to come by unless you are able to find Corda, and these days, I don't think I've ever met a single soul that has, so would make sense. I go to
sweetie,
grab the map.
Corda's
and
not
take
that big of a
gander
deal.
at it. Well, you know how many students I've said that to myself at the varsity, honey, and I give her a little elbow jab.
So
nowhere near as lovely as my swamp.
Right. So she hands you this copy of this very crudely drawn map. Almost like somebody that like doesn't really have much artistic skill drew it. And and so
by the
you
way,
get to-
listeners out there, you might want to check our Instagram because I'm sure I will be posting a copy of this poorly drawn map.
Yeah,
free to
it's
comment,
it's
like,
gonna go on Instagram. And then later a better copy of it drawn by our own Jacob is gonna go up on Instagram.
Art is subjective. Art is subjective.
Yeah, it is.
Nimbus has been watching this conversation go on, and as soon as she said 1,000-pound canvas, he immediately dropped and started doing push-ups. And then when she said that the canvas didn't actually weigh 1,000 pounds, he stood up and then was just like slack-jawed watching the rest of this transpire. But he, as she kind of sounds like she's about to head down, he definitely poses up and offers a high five.
Oh, Nimbus.
Yeah, she absolutely high fives you, but she does that real like aggressive thing where she goes in for the high five and then grabs your hand and pulls you in and just wraps you up in a big old Tiffany bar diddly bear hug and like picks you up off your feet and shakes you around. And oh, sweetie, we don't high five. Like, you and I go way too far back. We've got to hug it out.
Nimbus is completely fine with that.
As well,
he's totally into it.
So
from
now,
the look of the map, as a quick question, since I am officially holding it at this point, is there like a discernible location? Are there things that it is close to on the map? Especially for those who are listening and not actually watching a video version of this. What kind of stuff is near it in this?
So there's this weird thing about the spheres where there's certain things that just kind of exist and people know about them and they might go to them, but they don't actually care about what's around it. So you could potentially have like a chain of locations, not necessarily in a straight line, like it could go all over, that are all known, but the space in and around those is completely unknown. So what this map is showing you is, hey, here's how you get from where you know you are to the next like known location, which is called the bar. You would know it by reputation. It is a giant like metal bar that just floats in the humpbacked sky. And this thing,
Like a bar of metal, or like a bar that you would order a drink at.
like it is a giant
Yes.
bar of metal. It's about 2 kilometers in length, and it also happens to be one long bar.
Okay.
Like the
Or
length
you can
of the
also
thing.
purchase a drink. I
Yes,
love it.
like the
Okay,
length of the
lovely.
thing is one long bar along, like if this is the cross section of it and the bar is going down one side of it, the other side has all of your docks. So you can just dock, get off of your barge or ship or whatever you're using to travel with, and literally just walk out to this bar. And
I'm
that's
hearing is
its
that
only
we walk
function.
down. We walk down the 2-kilometer bar like we're in Coyote Ugly the movie. And if you haven't seen it, look up a scene, because that's what I'm picturing Nimbus doing in his flamboyant socks right now, and I'm here for it. I am here for it.
It's a valid thing. So
All right, perfect.
that's kind of your thing. There are some other things sketched on this map that are approximate locations of some other things, none of which you've actually ever heard of.
Okay, cool.
And this map is definitely like a good step in the right direction for trying to chart the uncounted spheres.
Lovely.
And now
Awesome.
you have the option to go kind of explore the bazaar a little bit more if you want to, try to hand out a few business cards, and then at some point hit the road. Jack.
The Rojack? Ah.
Don't hit
Yep.
him. He's nice.
Beautiful. Okay.
Um,
I'm assuming Tiffany is starting to walk off of the ship at this point.
Yeah, Tiffany hugged Nimbus and then gave you a little wave, Quith. And then like kind of side-eyed Veighor, but in a way where you can't tell if she's like giving him the stanky side eye or the stanky side eye.
I actually I run up to her after she starts to walk away, and like the other two get busy. I pass the bag of coins off to Quith, and I run up to Tiffany and I stop her and I say, this could be an opportunity for you, Tiffany. We have an extra room on our ship. You could leave this chain, this business behind, and you could sail freely on the wastes with us. What do you
All
say?
in.
Oh,
man.
sweetie.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, yeah.
that is such a considerably nice and not at all personally motivated offer, I can tell. But to be frank with you, why would I want to go on that stinky little barge with y'all when I've got this entire place to myself? Like, I own it. Have you seen the luxury apartments there? Because they don't hold nothing to where I live.
It
I
looks
mean-
more like a gilded cage, Tiffany. It is out there in the wastes that you truly find happiness.
I lean over to
Well, I
Quith
mean,
and I'm like,
That's,
does he know that I've got all my stuff in that room?
I mean, I know that's where you
don't
find
think so, honey.
happiness because you're a chaos champion, but honey, that ain't where I find happiness. Now, run along with your little friends and, take care of your business, but I've got a business to run. And she just saunters off, sachets, as it were.
Mhm.
I have to say, I do love this independent lady. 10 out of 10. Big fan. Put our boy in his place.
Hey, I gave her the chance to sail the open waters with us, and if she wants to sit like a bird in a gilded cage, so be it. I'll visit again, but I think she's throwing away a golden opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And like, for a chaos champion, she is.
Right.
She's not a chaos champion.
Yeah,
So-
I'll
Yeah.
I'll get her to change her mind eventually.
Look, different strokes for different folks. That's all I'm
Mhm.
gonna say.
She did
So
mention
what
our stinky little barge though, and I need
Yeah.
to deck this bad boy out. I need
Okay.
to make it threatening and a dangerous seafaring vessel.
I like that now, like before it was just like you were like, I want it to look impressive. Now you're like, not only do I want it to look impressive, but I have to impress Tiffany with my boat.
Oh yeah. Well, also
I
scare
wa-
off all the other people.
So I
So,
walk up and I slap Veighor on the back and I say, "Oh hey, did you ask her if she wanted an autograph?"
And autograph? No, I don't think she wants anything from us. But I throw my arm around you. We've coin, a ship that will soon make look very impressive, and a chance
as-
to stroll around the bazaar. Come, boy,
So-
grab your best socks.
As you throw your arm around Nimbus, you feel the slap of a toad tongue on your forehead, and as you glance
Wow.
over, Quith on my head is looking at you with large, somber eyes, and says,
What do you want, Toad?
"Well, good morning there, Veighor. I just wanted to let you know that it's a real shame if you're gonna let your lady walk away. You never know how long it's gonna be until you see him again. Don't go back out into that waste without her." And he
Ah.
kind of lovingly licks the side of your cheek. You don't
Well,
want to
if
be
this
dry like me, Veighor. You don't want to be dry.
your Gulia is not my Tiffany. If I tried to capture her, she would burn our whole ship down. She is a burning flame, and I don't quite have the lantern to capture her yet.
I'm trying to pass a card and a pin to Pith because Nimbus wants Pith's autograph really bad.
Oh, he grabs that pen with his tongue and does a little like it doesn't look like a name at all. It just looks like a little poorly drawn sketch slug-like. You think it might be a rendition of Gulia, but it's not clear.
Awesome.
There's also one small toad tear that drops onto it, so it looks a bit like a watercolor. Wasn't intentional, but that's a thing.
so you want to fix up the golden barge, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah, I also I need to some of our cards that we're passing out. I want to use my secret signs or my Kurgan language skill, and I want to put a secret message on there that says
Okay.
it's basically signaling. I want it to be like a glyph or something, but it signals that we have like open enrollment, and it's if you can understand this, you're worthy.
Okay.
But to any normal person who doesn't understand Kurgan,
It just looks like kind of like chicken scratch. Like somebody did a little doodle on there.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I like that.
Word. Yeah.
You're good enough with Kurgan. I'm just going to let you do that. No sense in
My best
making you
skill.
roll for like
Don't
taking a few
forget to-
minutes.
You have a tick though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You definitely like. I'm basically like for this. I'm kind of instating the whole D&D idea of like take 10, right? Like you are using the skill, but you're taking enough time that I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Okay.
So here's what's going to happen. You all are able to work on your ship some. It's definitely a little mismatched, a little rough. It's got all that tar. Quith, you said you were already working on, like, scraping some of the tar off, but I'd imagine more like smoothing it out.
Yeah, I was
Because it
flattening
is
the edges and then
integral
taking
to the
excess.
worthiness of this thing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to scrape it entirely off. I am trying to. It was described, I believe, as being glopped on in large quantities.
Yes.
So I'm trying to
Oh,
make
yeah.
it look slightly more presentable while also not letting the excess go to waste. Obviously.
Yeah, that's obviously. So, Veighor, you have had the most interest in buying stuff to really fix up this ship. So while you're thinking about that, let's pick Quith and Nimbus's brains on how you feel about Veighor just like blazing ahead and taking the initiative and being like, I want a big, terrifying thing on this sail.
So Quith is, I'm assuming that, to be totally honest, knowing Veighor well, I am assuming that he is not actively telling us that he is going to paint
Absolutely
a
not.
chaotic sigil on our sail. And so when he offers, I already know that he's been badgering us all morning. And since really we got on this ship about how it looks and its appearances, Quith is perfectly fine living in a dirty swampland, and I smell pretty horrible. So I don't really get it. And my character is like, if you want to handle these repairs, sweetheart, that's fine. I'm gonna go check out that bazaar. I still have some apple pie to find. I still have some items I want to scout for. It's been a long time since I've seen a new place besides the Versity, obviously. So I'm interested to do a little perusing, and I am happy to let him occupy himself in the process. Although I am thinking to myself that I do have that jar of christening liquid still in my backpack, and I am ready to smash that against the side of the ship once I come back.
Awesome. Question for you. As you're going to try to go do that, are you trying to take any of the communal funds that you all won together, or are you going to leave him all of that to work on the barge?
So I had thrown it to Nimbus. So as I'm getting ready to kind of grab my bag and everything, I do turn to Nimbus and I say, honey, you want to come down with me to the shop? I'm going to go look for some more of that apple pie we love so much and maybe get a few items. Maybe bring some of that silver with you. I'm sure Veighor will need some because he does have the bag. And as long as everyone's kosher with it, Quith is going to try to pull like a third of the silver to take with her, like a third of the winnings.
Okay, so Nimbus has separated all the money very carefully and methodically into 3 old socks that he no longer was using. 33 in each, and the 1 extra coin he has put on the mast / trunk of this ship.
I like it.
And has nailed it to the mast. Funny story, when he finishes using the hammer, he turns around, Veighor, and you see that it is the hammer of Undo that just has the cloth still wrapped around it. And he's so proud of himself for hammering this coin into the mast, and he's holding this hammer.
My boy, be careful. Stand perfectly still. Perfectly still. Wait. I'm coming to you. Just breathe.
I walk right over and
this
throw my
hammer. And I'm like slowly, I it's like I'm part of the bomb squad, and I'm just like slowly walking up, and I'm reassuring him like a wild animal. I'm like, shh, it's fine, it's fine. It's just you and me here, just you, me, and the hammer. Don't even think about the hammer. Look over there.
As Veighor is trying to approach him so cautiously, Quith has already started walking over to Nimbus, throwing an arm around him, and I go, "Oh, honey, look at you! That was so smart!" And I give you like a real big pat on the back. Didn't undo that corner or anything.
All right,
So
at this point, I full sprint.
Yeah, just as you're sprinting towards me, I definitely go up for a high five with the hand that's holding the hammer to quit.
Who are you trying to high five?
Quith.
Okay. I high five you, but
Test luck.
Pith. Okay, I will. Pith on my head sees that hammer dropping, and Pith goes, "Oh no, we love Nimbus too much. We got to get that." So his tongue is making a attempt for a grab while I am high fiving. I will test luck.
Okay.
And I got a 9. My luck is an 11.
Wow.
So that's a strong toed tongue, is all I'm trying to say.
Okay, so
As soon as Danny said test luck, I was like, this is a mistake. This was such a mistake.
yeah. So
she's proud of you.
So your toad manages to deflect the hammer just enough so that you like slow down the arc that the hammer is coming in just enough so your hand actually hits like Nimbus's fist, instead of making direct contact with the head of the hammer, which would have unmade you. Like,
Beautiful.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You were about to be able to roll up a new character.
I mean, it's still wrapped in a cloth, isn't it? I mean, I assumed that it was,
Well, I was going to. What I was saying was like I was going to go up for a high five and just drop the hammer.
Yeah.
Like,
My assumption was that it was falling through the air and about to hit
the
ship,
hammer.
which is
yes,
more concerning. But
well,
I'm
in
not
that
gonna dive
case,
for it.
sorry, that's not a Quith roll luck. That's a Nimbus roll luck and Veighor roll luck.
well, I mean, my toad is attempting to also catch this hammer in the air.
So your toad has done a good job of
that.
slowing it down, which is going to make it easier. That means that not both of them have to succeed. One of them has to succeed.
I did.
Veighor, you failed.
I rolled a 10, and my luck is an 8. I don't have good luck.
Okay,
I don't need
so
luck.
we
I'm
might be
chaotic.
staring at an unmade barge, which would just completely like throw my plans out the window, and I'm happy about it.
I
what
like that we just accepted a gig to go to fly out into uncharted areas on our barge. Screw the barge.
Right. So before you tell us what your role was, Jacob, Quith, you rolled luck for your toad.
I did.
And your toad managed to get its tongue on the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
It successfully did that. We're going to say that it's not actually touching the undo part of the hammer. So your toad's safe.
We'll do.
The hammer's falling. Veighor is like diving, but dove too soon and does that like belly flop on the deck short of it.
Well, I was jumping where it would have fallen, but the frog's tongue moved.
It's given it a little bit of an arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nimbus.
My luck is an 8. I rolled a 7.
Oh, thank the good Lord. Thank
So here's the
Glogans,
thing.
I say.
What are you doing?
Me?
Like you
How are you
rolled
trying to
luck.
catch this
You
hammer?
already dropped it. So what are you doing?
So what am I doing?
Please tell
You're
me you kick it with your
reacting.
sock. Tell me you kick the hammer.
So, okay. So no, this is what happens. When I give Quith a high five, the toad's tongue shoots out, catches the hammer. I go down for a low 5 because I'm thinking the toad is shooting me a low 5 with his tongue and end up grabbing the hammer
I like it.
Okay.
by the handle. So,
Beautiful.
Okay.
and then I turn around and I'm like, oh no. And I'm helping Veighor up because I think he slipped.
I like you go to help me up and I like grab your arm and I pull you down and I headbutt you and I grab the hammer. You're crazy. I love it. I throw the hammer in my knapsack and I lean down, I kiss the deck of the ship. Mwah! You're safe one more night, girlie. We were this close to commandeering one of those ships. The other
Right?
dock ships.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that
I love this
happened.
game.
I love this game. So Quith, you mentioned that you were trying to take a third of the silver.
One of them sucks.
Nimbus, are you trying to keep your third of the silver?
I have it. I mean, like I divided it into 3 parts, but I'm not really thinking.
Right.
Like I'll probably walk around in the bazaar with Quith, but I'm kind of getting really interested in what Veighor's doing too. So I'm kind of
Veighor.
pestering Veighor for.
Does silver matter to you? Like, do you know what money is, or does it have any
Oh yeah,
any value to you? Okay.
How do you
yeah.
think
I
he
mean,
gets
like I use it to
socks
buy.
outside of diversity? Okay.
Yeah, I use it to buy snacks and socks, but
Yeah.
I
Oh,
do
true.
understand what it is.
Okay.
Right.
Valid question.
So Veighor, you going to try to get any more than 33 silver for your project? Because if you only have 33, that is severely limiting your options.
Yeah, the group's all here, and I tell them, look at this ship, and look at these ships, and I gesture around that one, Whew, terrifying. Look at the front there. The screaming mermaid that sits at the front of the ship. Beautiful. Exquisite. And there. Oh, a heavy warship. Mwah! What I would do to captain such a vessel. And then look at this. This childlike ship. With no spikes, skulls, weaponry, not a lick of armor to it. We would be like a juicy apple floating out in the humpback sky, waiting to be plucked, eaten, ripe and juicy. Some marauder would come and eat us up. I won't have it, and I'm spending my silver to do something about it. What say you? What say you with that sock of silver?
I am slowly putting it in my bag as you're talking while maintaining eye contact.
Ah,
Um,
you have
but
no idea.
as soon as you mention the word lick, and then you start mentioning tasty bapples, right? My character has a little light bulb moment, a glow goo moment, one might say, and as I'm putting the bag in or the little sock in my bag with all the coins, I hear it clink against the top of my piss pond water jar that now has tar in it. My beautiful, juicy, tasty jar of christening liquid. And honey, you want something beautiful to add to the ship? I got just the thing. And I pull it out and set it right in front of you. This big, juicy, gnarly, black, goo-filled jar. And I go, a christening liquid for when you're all done with the decorating. These coins, though, I'm gonna need for that apple pie. Nimbus, honey, I feel like you've been, and at this time, Nimbus is kind of meandering around the ship looking at the spots that, Veighor has already pointed out as failures.
Right.
And I say, are you going to stay with our friend here, or you want to come with me to the bazaar? You can always leave some of your coins and we could split my sock.
Boyo,
So-
come with me. Spend your coin well. We shall buy something nice for you. A large spike. Perhaps we'll place it here.
Okay, so Nimbus was definitely very caught up in your speech, Veighor. I feel like he's like into it. And like he's looking around every time you pointed to something, he was like, "You're right, that is really nice. You're right, that is scary." And then you're right, the ship is just now I'm terrified. So I'm gonna say that I hand you my whole sock of coins.
Smart
And
boy.
and I'm like, this is really what I wanted to do anyway. And I reach up and I touch the coin on the mast and I give it a little kiss and touch it. And I say, these bring good luck.
Oh, I rub the coin because I know once someone starts a tradition like that, it puts a force out there in the universe. You rub it, rub this coin as well.
So when you say that to me, I approach it a little hesitantly, giving Nimbus a little side eye. Like, I'm pretty lucky without this coin. I don't know how helpful it is. But as I approach the coin, Pith, having overheard you, is like, the only thing I want is the luck that finds me my woman. So he happily gives it a smack with that tongue.
There, now we are blessed.
So you are blessed. The three of you have engaged in your first ritual together as a team, and all three of you get to increase your luck by 1 permanently.
I feel like it's the second ritual because the first one was hammer juggling.
That wasn't
Well, I
a
like-
ritual.
I
That
like
was
the
a
idea
travesty.
that-
Hopefully.
And by the
feel like
way-
it really plays well to say you've coined the ritual. because
Yeah.
it's a coin.
So, by the
Oh.
way, I literally rolled for that. I was like, all right, I'm going to throw a d6. If I get a 6, this is a ritual. 100% got a 6. On the casino dice, too. The ones that are supposedly super fair. So, yeah,
Flawless.
you all get to, and that is a permanent increase to your luck score, to your maximum luck.
Sweet.
I would
Yep.
like everyone to know that I now have a luck score of 12. I blame the
Nice.
toad.
I blame the toad forever, for everything. We are heading towards the bazaar. You see a wealth of ridiculousness in front of you. There are multiple apple pie stands, because why not? It's our
I am looking
world.
for the biggest, most well-lit, most fantastical Babel stand I can find. I'm doing a walk around. Looking for the
Really?
best of the best.
Okay, that's an interesting take.
Mhm.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, you can find it. The apple pie's okay.
Ugh. Ugh. Well, you know, I've only been to a few localities outside of my homeland, and there, the best lit places are usually the safest. So,
Oh, well,
apparently
safe,
here they
yes,
have
but
crap apple pie.
everybody knows that the best restaurants in the world are the ones that are like in tiny little hole in the wall spots that nobody even knows about, that you feel like,
This is a fair
am I
assessment.
immediately part of the family, or am I going to get killed here? It's one
That's
or the
true.
other. There's no
When
middle
you have
ground.
that level of fear, you know the food's going to be delicious.
Absolutely.
True. Okay.
So you found some pretty good apple pie.
How much did that acceptable apple pie cost me?
1 silver pence
Okay.
from your
Oh, yeah.
33.
Beautiful. Okay.
I gave my whole bag.
And then I want to spend a little bit of time basically perusing the stands.
Did you buy
for
apple pie for Nimbus as well?
Nimbus? You stayed on the boat, right? Or did you come with me?
No, I wasn't sure, but then I thought, yeah, I'll come with you because I've got to stop back by that Keek's place. So I grabbed.
If Nimbus ordered a piece, I would have paid for it. So Nimbus,
Okay.
are you hungry for some mediocre apple pie?
Sure. Are you kidding?
Okay, perfect.
Well,
Always.
let's be honest.
Macerated track
Even
pie.
mediocre apple pie is exceptional.
It's
Oh
true.
yeah.
Especially in
Yeah.
Quith's mind.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. And then once we're done eating, I do want to spend some time basically looking for baubles, widgets,
Mm-hmm.
trinkets, whatever word you fancy.
Absolutely.
The more weird, the better. The more foreign. She's basically trying to get some small cool items that she can bring along that may represent a few different places she hasn't yet been able.
We're going to get to what's like catching your eye in a second, but there are a couple of things that are like prominently displayed. One of which is Isbit's staircase. It's a miniature staircase. It's a perfect replica of the Phocian stairs that litter the Mazo Palace of the late Emperor Rayhin, and fits comfortably in the palm of whomever is unwise enough to be handling it. It's rumored that placing it upon almost any surface and attempting to climb the stairs will transport the unfortunate soul doing so into the Naysphere, where they climb a seemingly full-sized, for them, whatever size they are, version of the stairs. Anyone watching from outside may see, upon close examination, a tiny being surmounting the stairs. Upon emerging from the staircase, the bearer finds themselves at their intended destination, but will refuse to even try to recount the experience in the stairway, stating that it's a long story. The intended destination, they'll usually find themselves there, and it's within line of sight for intended destination. And the other thing that you'll find, a bag of textbooks. You may test luck to have a textbook on some esoteric subject relevant to the problem at hand. If you succeed, take +1 to all rolls related to that problem for the rest of the day. This bag of textbooks feels like it carries 1d6 textbooks in it. So roll a d6, and that's how many uses you'll have of this bag of textbooks. When you pull the book out, so you test luck. If you succeed, you find the book that you want. If you use the book on that subject, you can mark it as an advanced skill. And if the next time you rest, you test that skill, you can start to learn it. So this is basically a way for you to start to learn skills. So what did you roll?
I rolled a 4.
Heck yes. So you have 4 uses for this bag of textbooks if you're to purchase it. You also have access to the stairs. The staircase costs 10 silver pence. The bag of books costs 15 silver pence.
That seems fair. It's a useful item, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like make it too easy for you to get stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
good stuff.
You don't want us to just be super skilled as we head out into the chaotic multiverse. That's not okay.
Yeah.
This is
All right.
Troika. We have to go out like naked as newborn babes.
Says
We're gonna
the
get all this
zombie-
stuff,
Okay.
drop the hammer on our ship, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
keep floating.
Yeah, I was trying to get rid of our
loose
ship. This is gonna be too easy with the ship.
animals.
Right.
Trying to balance the playing field
We
here.
can swim.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
what else is catching your eye?
Okay, so I take a little bit to look at obviously this backpack. I think that's definitely very useful. The staircase is pretty interesting, but I do spend some time passing through some of the other items, kind of fiddling around with some stuff, trying to figure out what some of these things do. I do find, interestingly enough, what looks to be a small little like pocket mirror, basically. It does have a strange emblem that I do not recognize, but listeners might, as our logo. And it is called the Sonder screen. There's a little tag on the back of it. And it says that it allows you to, upon viewing it, see an alternate incidence of yourself. So for those listening at home who maybe haven't actually paged through the Troika book, which at this point, what are you doing? There's a link in the bio. Check it out. But so it's pretty interesting that in Troika there's a big difference in a lot of the way that the spells are kind of worded, at least in the original like book.
Mhm.
And in that you don't, like in a normal D&D game or something, edit your current reality. You're in a lot of instances literally switching between what is happening in this world and what's happening in another reality. So you can't engage with the person. You can't speak to them. I'm trying to talk to the mirror right now. They don't seem to hear me. But I'm able to see a person that looks just like me in it, eating some apple pie at a small and probably more tasty restaurant. And I'm thinking, you idiot. So that one definitely catches my eyeball. I also find what seemed to be a little area of kind of like flavor enhancers, drugs, kind of like powders and tinctures and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, this seems a little fascinating. So I start kind of pawing through them. And I do find two things that catch my eye. One is what is labeled as a salt stick. It is basically a small and perfect rectangular shaped object that is a light pink. It's glowing, a soft pink in color. And it can be used to extract liquid from organic material, any organic material, when applied in its powdered form only. It does come with a small grate, but there is a warning affixed to it that says when grinding into powder, be cautious because you must test luck to see if you accidentally inhale any dust. On a fail, you lose 1d6 stamina as your nose begins to glow and bleed. So I think that's pretty useful because I know I'm always trying to keep my toad moist, but I am a little cautious of that dangerous side effect.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of them have that though, because the other one that really catches my eye is a powder labeled as kyanade. It is a blue crystallized powder with a metallic sheen that permits the user to maintain body temperature regulation even in extreme environments. So perhaps in some of the crazier spheres, more dangerous locations. When running through fire, one might say. Okay? Prolonged use, though, does run the risk of your flesh slowly molting to reveal a new metallic skin beneath. Some say that it is reminiscent to a thinking machine. There is a little note on there, though, that says that thinking machines are actually immune to that effect, and that it is a healing aid for them, allowing them to instead gain 1d6 stamina upon repeated use. Seems to be some sort of like a mechanical healing agent, but like you could probably use it if you're willing to, test your luck a little bit. So those are the ones that immediately catch my eye in the tincture section. And I do also see, as I'm heading back over to relook at that bag of books one last time, a radio, plastic, cheap looking, with a cute little snout face painted on the front. And it is labeled a ham radio. Next to it, it says that it can translate any language into swine. However, it does not work in the reverse. It seems to be some sort of a tool that would help communicate with a person who maybe had a bad run-in with some magical spells, since there is a common chance of, if you mess up your magic, turning into a pig. The swine, perhaps.
Well, I guess if you turn into a pig that can't understand English or
Yeah.
can't understand the common tongue, then that would be a really useful thing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how the world of Troika works, but I'm happy to know that there's at
Yeah.
least a ham radio translator out there for some people.
That's good.
All right.
I also
so-
imagine that there's a way to maybe tinker with it a little bit and make it a little functional as a two-way, but it doesn't seem to work that way currently. It's cheap plastic, so
Nice.
Um,
Do you want prices?
So the ones that I'm specifically really interested in are the Sonder screen. I think it's really fun, and I'm curious what other pieces of advice it may hold. Like maybe don't go to that brightly lit shop for your apple pie next time.
Yeah.
I do also want to grab some of that kyanate. I have a little flash of memory to Nimbus almost dropping that hammer on the ship, and I go heading out into that chaotic environment with a chaos champion and not so dexterous zoanthrope. We may need any healing aids we can get. Also, I don't necessarily want my skin to dry and crack and turn into metal, but I feel like that may be right up Veighor's alley. So I think that may be good for the group. I think to grab that as well. But I think those are the only two that I'm actively going to go for, unless the salt sticks price is reasonable, because I do want to moisten that toad as much as possible.
So we said 15 for the bag of books. We said 10 for the staircase. 3 for the Sonder screen. The salt stick is 8. The cyanide or kyanade is 10. And the radio is 5.
Currently, I'm sitting at a solid 31 silver from the group. I also do have, since we all started with some, an additional 12 silver pence of my own. I would like to go ahead and get the bag of textbooks, for sure. I feel like that's just
Yep.
necessary. And then I would like to go ahead and get the ham radio as a precaution. I'm going to go a little thing of kyanade in case we need it, bringing me down to 13. I'll use 8 of that for a salt stick, which leaves me with a solid 5 silver pen in total.
Cool. I feel like you done
Beautiful.
good.
I come back with a whole bag. I am so excited with my trinkets. Quith has
Yeah.
never had this much fun thrifting before. She's a big fan.
Awesome. And so while you've been thrifting, you haven't noticed that Nimbus has wandered off. He has wandered off, and you don't know where he is. And we cut over to Nimbus inside of a nicely organized but very overstocked shop run by a friendly crustaceous creature named Keek.
I was wondering why you had that costume back on.
Yeah, this is my crap costume.
So Nimbus has taken 2 pairs of his 4 pairs of new booties
Mhm.
to this Keek, who he had noticed was eyeing them. And according to the etiquette for Keeks, he waited a couple days before revealing the item to make it seem less like he was just trying to pass it off because he noticed that he liked him, and more like he was just, bringing him something nice.
Well, also, like you had to go out and find them and like hunt them down. Like it was it could have been a big deal for you to find these socks.
Absolutely. So he thinks about that just as he's walking into the shop and with the 2 pairs of booties in his hand, and thinks, well, I don't need to walk in with them in my hand. So he unzips a little leather, battered leather fanny pack that he's got on and pops them down in that.
Fantastic.
And proceeds into the shop.
Oh, welcome back, friend. What can I do for you today?
Oh, well, we're going to be headed out pretty soon. I really loved your shop. I wanted to come back around and look at it one more time before we headed out.
Oh, well, thank you for coming by. Do you see anything that, interests you that you maybe, like desire, want, need?
So I kind of wander around the shop for a minute and then snap my fingers and say, "Oh, I almost forgot. I brought you a gift to thank you for giving me this lovely pack." And
Oh,
I
you don't
unzip
need to do that.
I
The
unzip
pack was repaying
Ferdinandrew
you.
and I reach down into Ferdinandrew and it, I'm assuming the socks are right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I pull the socks out and I put them down on the desk. I say, I don't know if you like them or if you've got anybody who needs some shoes, but these are some cool socks I thought you might like.
And his eyes go wide. And he just stares at the booties. And you see him, like, the eye stalks are, like, out and just bulging. And he just looks up at you. I mean, I couldn't just accept these. These are... I mean, you must have gone through so much to get these. These are immaculate specimens. I don't know where
And
you found them.
oh, I love socks. I have so many socks, and these are some that I had that I just thought that they just looked like something that you might. I saw your shop, and I thought the colors and the material they're made of, it just seemed like something maybe that you'd like. So I thought I'd stop by and drop them off.
I mean, this is extraordinary. What do you want in exchange for them? I mean, I might be interested in trading for them. What would you like to barter for them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't. I was just going to gift them to you, but I guess I could poke around a little and see if anything catches my eye. I mean, everything in your shop is so beautiful, but it's all worth so much more than a couple pairs of socks.
Well, I wouldn't specifically undersell them. They are exquisite, delightful, and I mean,
They
they're just
are.
swell. I think you might find something that you're interested in if you look around. I've got a bunch of interesting things here. Why don't you take a look?
Okay, I'll poke around for a minute. So I'm gonna wander off into the shop and poke around for a while.
Awesome. Cut to Veighor. Veighor stands on the deck of your still unnamed golden barge, and he
Isn't it first, okay?
he is furious. Veighor is in his element. There are workers chaotically bustling around him, foremen yelling and screaming in his face about how outrageous the price of materials for building are right now, and there's no way they can get the job done anytime soon. And amidst all the chaos, Veighor stands.
Don't give me that faulty line about the price of goods. I know you're a Gorgon vulture, and I know you've pilfered all these things from vessels out there in the wastes. You got it for free, so don't come to me with that. Now, I've good coin, I say as I hold up my 2 large socks filled with silver. And you've goods to trade.
Look, I've got goods to trade, but, you know, it's just a little hard. Figuring, like, what are you trying to get? Like 853 things done to your barge right now? This is outrageous. I don't know what you're trying to pull over on me. Look, frankly, you're lucky I'm even still here. Because it's ridiculous the amount of stuff you're trying to get done. So, here's the deal. You've got like a couple of big jobs you want done. You've got all these small jobs you want done. You get to pick one of each, and I'll take all those coins in exchange for it. All right, tough guy?
That's typical vulture. behavior.
Yeah, I'm
Look
a
at all
vulture.
the coin.
I'm a
Easy to
vulture.
get,
You're a
easy to
big
come
bad
by.
chaos champion. Oh no,
You're
what
going-
you gonna do?
You're going to kill my friends and I. Sending us
No.
out there in the waste with the ship we've got now, you might as well send us in a casket. Just a floating, sailing casket.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
need-
I thought you were a big bad chaos champion who could take care of himself. I didn't realize you was just a big pansy boy.
You want me to prove what kind of man I am? I say as I pull out, and I think he would know what this is. As I pull out the hammer of undo, and I show him that the handle has no notch on it. and
Oh,
I
look, you got a
take off
nice,
the-
fancy, brand new hammer you haven't even used on anything. Look
Yeah,
at you,
we're-
pretending like
we're
you know how
talking-
to be a craftsman. Waving around your hammer you haven't ever even used. Get that thing out of my face.
I smash it on his, or I gently tap it on the. I assume we're arguing over like his counter, right?
No, he's on the ship with you.
Large.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
that's right.
Tap something he's wearing.
I so
Quith,
I
gosh.
I'm not there. I mean,
Unless you're really a pansy boy.
What's he wearing? Because if he's got like a hard hat, or if he's got like, a cape that's got
He's got like
anything
a
on it.
big like tradesperson like harness work vest type thing with a lot of his tools all over it.
Okay. Yeah. One of his tools. I tap a drill that he's got.
Roll luck.
Uh-oh.
why, but in my head, I was
7,
actively imagining.
For 9, so I made it.
You made it.
Nice. I was actually imagining that you were just gonna tap him with his hammer. I'm just
No, I need
Yeah,
him
me
to do
too.
the work. I need him to do the work.
true. It's a
So
valid
you
point.
tap the drill and it just disintegrates. And he looks at it and he looks at you. Is that what I
Chaotic
think it
enough
is?
for you?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
my
no.
boy.
Is that what I think it is?
I don't know. Do you want me to show you again? This thing might just undo the bad foot that we started off on.
I mean, clever wordplay, pansy boy. But here's the deal. I will add one big job. The price still stands. You get one big job and one small job. But I will add one big job or 2 small jobs to the deal if you give me that
You're
And-
insane.
and your cash.
I might worship chaos, but you're crazy if you think I'll pass this thing up. I put it back in the rucksack on my hip. I'll take your jobs and you'll take my coin. I'll do the
Hey, what
mast.
did it touch in your rucksack? You didn't
It's
wrap
the
it
only
up
thing in
before
there.
you put it back in.
It's the rucksack is empty. That's the only thing in there.
Oh, okay.
Gotta be careful with that hammer.
Yeah, I know. All right.
You're like, I'm gonna get you with that one.
Yeah, I
We
am.
are squeezing. We are squeaking by with lucky luck rolls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think you should have traded that dangerous hammer, but you are a chaos champion, so it seems fitting that
is.
you did it.
It does seem like it would
So
be
you
worth
get to
more
pick.
than.
Yeah. So you get to pick
Yeah, I'll do-
one of your big, one of your small.
Mm-hmm. Well, squeeze me for all I'm worth then. I'll take the sail, but I want a kraken. A terrifying kraken painted on it. Like my good god, the squid. And I'll do a harpoon gun there. I want it on a swiveling mount, right there at the front of the ship.
Yeah, that's doable. Look, you're actually talking reasonable now. We're so proud of you.
Yes, I'm just tired of your stinking breath. When the job is done, I'll give you the second sack, and I pass him the first sock.
Awesome. So he's going to proceed to get his crew to work. And hopefully by the time that your compatriots return to the barge, it will be completed.
Yeah, I tell them
Cut
all
to-
because I don't trust them. Right? It's like I know these guys as vultures, and they only steal from abandoned ships or they pilfer in that way, but they don't earn. They don't really earn what they get, right? Through battle,
Right.
blood, and sweat. And so I tell them as a warning that I know every inch of my ship, and if one thing is out of place, or something finds its way into one of your rat pockets, I shall find you. I have the nose of a bloodhound, I say as I skulk back to the cabin.
Yeah. All right. Whatever you say, pansy boy. Cut to Quith. Quith, you have completed your purchase, and you find yourself alone in the bazaar.
Oh, so yeah, an immediate panic befalls me. This is not the first time that Nimbus has wandered off. It is one of the first times that I'm having this hard of a time following his trail, though. Usually, with those fancy socks, he leaves some nice imprints on the floor, the dirt, whatever. Here, it's quite paved, very difficult to follow. So I am moving my way in a panic-stricken state through the bazaar, throwing autographed cards at people as I scream, Have you seen Zed, old Nimbus, anywhere? He's got a big scar, beautiful socks. Whenever somebody says no, I toss another autograph at them. They're littering the ground, like those things people put on people's windshields in parking lots.
Let's go ahead and test your luck to see if somebody knows, like somebody saw where Zed went. He is a decently popular figure, so it's not going to be that difficult.
I got an 8. My luck is 12.
Okay.
So I passed. I found someone who's maybe seen him.
Yeah, so you found somebody that quickly tells you, not in character voice, that they saw him heading back into what looked to just be like a tear in the wall of the bazaar.
I know exactly what they're talking about. So I rush, full sprint, holding my toad against my head so it doesn't blow off in the wind, and towards that hole that we once ventured into, hoping to find.
Brilliant. Cut to Nimbus. You are in the shop. You've been perusing. What items have caught your attention?
I found a giant, sort of in the back under some dust and stuff. Like there was this huge folded, like that nylon material, and I immediately knew that it was something inflatable. And upon folding it out a little bit, I discovered that it was a gigantic inflatable swan. So
Fantastic.
and I very much want to do something with this before I get caught by Quith. So I was wondering
Yeah.
if we could just kind of like, I make the trade, I head out, and I would like to steal something not very valuable, and it would be pretty easy to steal.
What are you trying to steal? Are you stealing from the Keek?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm stealing from a food stand somewhere.
Side
Okay.
of the Keeks.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
So the Keek absolutely is down to make this trade. That is just a big inflatable swan. They're not super interested in it. It's pretty.
How big is it? How big is this large inflatable? Is it like
All
a
three of
small
you
kiddie
could fit
pool?
on its back.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I definitely
Like,
feel
it
like
is-
later we're gonna be stranded, and it's gonna be like our lifeboat. There's
Yeah,
gonna be the three of us
about this.
sitting on
Okay.
this inflatable swan out there in the waste.
There'll
Yeah.
be 4 of us. We have a toad with us. Excuse
It's
me.
true.
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you? So yeah, you make the trade, and fun fact, the Keek actually includes the original box that it came in, which is about the size of a deck of cards. And you literally just open up the box and it just sucks the entire inflatable swan into it. And so you
Love
can
it.
just like tuck box it closed, and you've got this, what is like, I can tell you right now, if you were on a lake, the 3 of you could all exist on this swan. Not just like ride it, but like the back is big enough that you could probably
Small boat,
set up
kind of?
3 tents, like 3 2-person tents on the back of this swan. It's
Awesome.
huge.
Nice.
And-
In case we undo our ship again,
Yeah.
listeners.
You got this
We
thing.
have that.
I am
Don't
giving
worry.
you all way too many gifts, so be
Yeah.
prepared for the next episode because
Oh.
the hammer will drop.
It's okay, guys. You have that tomb. What to expect when you're expecting death. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
helpful.
That's true.
Absolutely. You've got
Also-
this beautiful book.
Can the deck of cards sized inflatable swan weigh as much as it should?
Yes.
Like it weighs like 80
No, it
pounds?
absolutely does.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And fun fact, in flowing script on the box, you see the words "Sed porcos neolor."
Nice.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, so it's like a high dollar souvenir that the school used to carry or something like that. That'd be super cool.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe, or maybe it's something
Or did
completely
the school
different.
steal the phrase in the first place from somebody else? I mean,
I don't know. Do
Either
any of
way-
your language Latin?
unfortunately, no, we still don't.
You know my languages.
You got
we have
nothing on it.
Okay.
Kurgan.
Okay.
Well,
Proper Kurgan.
I definitely pop open Ferdinand Andrew and
Hmm
pop my 80-pound
Swan.
deck of card sized inflatable
Yeah,
dirigible. Is that what it's called? A dirigible?
it's almost a dirigible. Yeah,
Dirigible, yeah, dirigible.
yeah, whatever the pronunciation is. That's another one of those words that I've read more often than I've heard.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
as
like
you're like
facade.
turning around to exit this shop, since it's kind of like a very narrow doorway, bright lights outside, really dim inside, the two of you basically run into each other right in this doorway.
Beautiful. That was my hope. I was hoping that I would collide aggressively as he was on his way to steal
Yeah.
something from another bazaar. So,
Mhm.
so I have been full force sprinting, not looking very carefully at what was coming out of the hole in the Keek's place. And we went in, it was basically empty. So in my head, I'm like, it's probably just Nimbus getting distracted talking to him. So I bust through, and right as I get through the doorway and the change in lighting messes with my eyes for a second, I slam straight into Nimbus. And as we fall to the ground in aggressive fashion, my toad licks your face, and I go, "Oh, it's been so long since I've lost you like that. You can't go wandering off." And I stare up at the Keek from the ground and go, "Thank you so much for finding him. I don't know what I could do to thank you. Oh, hold on." And I grab some more of those autographed cards and I throw them into the air and I say, "For you, my friend." She
Well
said people
played.
would like them. I don't know. I'm not. I hang out in a bog. Okay.
Yeah, I love this. Nimbus, what are you doing?
I've broken off a little piece of something out of my pocket and I'm feeding it to just like a little snack that I had from earlier, and I'm feeding it to the toad. And I'm like, I gave him some socks and I bought a balloon.
He happily snatches it.
Wonderful. Cut to Veighor. Veighor, you are on the deck of your newly renovated golden barge. Still looks like a dump. Still absolutely looks like a dump that just has a nicely painted mainsail and a shiny brand new ballista on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what it is. You still
Nice.
have the giant Troika Versity sign on the side of this thing.
Yeah, I've got to
Just-
paint that.
Yeah, you do.
I've got to paint over that.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. It's truly a sight to behold. And you hear chattering from behind you as Quith and Nimbus are heading back towards you. Nimbus, last chance. You're exiting the bazaar. You trying to steal?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Not this time.
You
Back
literally
around. He doesn't
just
wanna do
told
it
me
to
that
the
you
toad.
wanted to steal something from this bazaar.
Yeah, but things took a different turn.
Okay.
So
He had the
I'm good.
urge. He saw the toad he's trying to impress, and he went not in front of Pith. I mean, that's very
Yeah.
reasonable.
That is
I think
reasonable.
that was an opportunity for chaos that you just missed.
Yep.
You weren't there.
It
Sorry.
was.
Another one.
Okay, you want me to do it? I'll do it. You want me to do it?
No,
I can do it.
too late.
Okay.
So,
All right, fine.
as you two are walking up, you see this frankly beautifully painted giant squid, the chaos god, on the sail of the golden barge that is the three of yours. You see this shiny ballista decorating the prow, like right by the masthead. Or the figurehead, not the masthead. Different things, Danny. And Veighor is just absolutely basking in the glory of the
I'm
improvements that
beaming.
have been made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's so
proud.
proud of himself. So proud of himself.
Love it.
Now hold your
And-
applause. I know what you're thinking. I'm going to get this painted over as I tap the side of the ship and point down to the Troika universe. Then
Oh.
we'll really look good.
So you have officially pointed out this thing that you hate, right? That's on the side. It's pretty big lettering, right? The actual
Yeah.
Versity sign. So I go, because we're still kind of like, we haven't fully boarded the ship yet. As we're approaching and he says this loudly to us, I go, honey, throw me that jug. I can help. And I hold my hands out.
Oh, so true. And I go rummage and I grab it and I toss it to her.
Skill check.
Beautiful. A what?
Skill check from
Skill
both
check?
of you. Roll under
Is this like-
to see if you throw
Wow.
it properly and you catch it properly.
I got a 5. I have a
I got a
5.
6 for a 6.
Wow.
All right.
It was
It is
close. We did a
tossed.
little
It's
fumble.
a little shaky.
Just
You
caught it.
fumble a little bit, but you grab hold of it.
Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so I've officially grabbed this jug, and I turn to Nimbus, and I throw my arm over him, and I go, what do you think about calling this cutie Dodge? And I wheel my hand back and throw the whole jug aggressively against where the lettering is on the side of the boat. Dodge, honey! As I look up at Veighor like, you don't want to get splashed with this nasty stuff.
I absolutely love that.
I dodge out of the way and I howl to the sky. History being made.
Side eye at Veighor. I lean over to Nimbus and I whisper, well, really, I thought it would be useful because it's also what they call a pack of swans. But I mean, I guess if it excites Veighor this much, we'll just leave it.
Oh yeah. I'm like throwing my fists up in the air and like jumping around the deck of the ship, and I'm howling. It's one of the chaotic rituals that my folk would do when a ship was christened.
That
It's like a
is
celebratory
beautiful.
thing. Like people, like when kids are born and stuff, instead of having a cigar or doing that type of thing, you howl and announce to the world that your ship has been born.
So
Lovely.
I jump off the gangplank and onto the ship and do a running slide, and then get to the front, sort of the front area of the ship. I pop open that secret door. I kick it and it pops open. I'm going to put my deck of cards sized 80-pound inflatable swan in this secret compartment, and both Quith and Veighor can see me doing this.
Beautiful. As you are doing that, I am reaching my ladle over the side of the ship a little bit as I'm fully on board now, and just trying to rub a little bit of that splatter onto my ladle. I touch it with my finger. I bop my toad a little bit, almost like an Ash Wednesday marking. And I walk over to Veighor and I say, "May Papa bless you, honey." And I give him a little bop on the forehead with some of the nastiness. And I go down to Nimbus as he's finishing up and do the exact same thing.
That's amazing. And on that note, the three of you set sail on the humpbacked sky, following this really just not great map towards unknown destinations.
That's going to suddenly get better eventually.
That's just the way I like it.
Yeah. And as
know,
you three chart this section, you might get a better map eventually. And it's this crazy, ridiculous experience because the days are just kind of flying by. Like you're all you're all experiencing the real freedom of the humpback sky for the first time. You've been in what is essentially the kiddie pool up until now. No real danger, no real threats. And you're not just going out into the spheres and sailing the humpback sky. You are going out into the uncharted spheres. The bar is on the fringes of the known charted space, and even that it's a place for for ruffians and for pirates and for all these people of ill repute. And
Dive bar, one might say.
yeah, absolutely. And as you are traveling there, you see just swirling through the ethereal cosmos around you this massive, majestic creature made of hyperlight, unburdened by base matter, able to soar across the dark sea of sky between worlds. Illuminated by the black suns, they may and often do indulge in base activities such as wanton slaughter, accumulating needless wealth, and plumbing the depths of forbidden knowledge. They do this because they know that nothing of these wicked spheres can harm them or their objective spiritual and physical perfection. You see a baby dragon flying towards you.
Well, I sure hope we can dodge this one.
And that's where we're going to call it for the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Finish. Beautiful.
This episode really dragons.
You're fired.
Not as far.
You're absolutely fired. Wow. That was an absolutely insane episode. Like, that was so dumb, and I love it, but
Yeah, it was. I feel like it was the most upbeat episode almost that we've done yet. Like, I feel like we were all kind of.
It was definitely a goofy sesh, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Almost
it was.
undoing the boat. Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
New mask,
Catastrophes.
love it. You traded socks. I love that you have a friend out there somewhere who appreciates socks as much as you.
That was great.
Yeah.
In the swan boat. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Oh yeah. This is gonna get insane. Holy smokes. Let's do inspiration for the week. Let's jump right into it.
So, for me, this week, I feel like we have been just talking a lot about items and stuff, trying to kind of build up on that a little, especially with Troika Fest. By the time that this is released, just wrapping, but while we are recording this, it's still like going on. So I have kind of fallen in love with, ironically, it's not really an RPG directly related thing, but just for visual like inspiration. There is an artist, a ceramics artist on Instagram that I follow, Sabitry Ceramics. So that is Sabritree, all one word. They basically do these really insane, almost like mineral-like bowls and ceramic projects that seem like a weird mix between like a mineral and a moss or a fungus, something like that. And I feel like it's been a really cool inspiration for just like alien plant life. So that one I've been deep diving on a lot recently, saving a lot for illustration references, that kind of stuff. Massively huge fan. And then I also have been really enjoying so it's similar to what Jacob has kind of plugged in the past. Not sure if you specifically plugged this one, but on Instagram there is kind of another one of those collab pages that I've been deep diving into that's kind of a real mixed bag. Features several different artists, kind of always slightly different things, always within the sci-fi and fantasy realms, which I feel like is a nice mix for something like a science fantasy game like Troika. It on Instagram it is Sci-Fi Gallery or Galaxy, so SciFiGalaxy, and just really like a mixed bag of really sick sci-fi art. I feel like Jacob may have plugged this before. If so,
I don't
I'm
think so.
plug it again. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those adjacent ones that you probably sent me originally. But it just has a lot of really cool, kind of on the darker, more alien side, less super, super bright, which I feel like is what we typically are deep diving into. But definitely if you want to do a little bit more of like a dark edge to stuff, like you're heading out into the chaos, it's a pretty fun one to kind of just peruse for random inspiration. So those have been two that I've been kind of deep diving on and
Heck yeah.
fueling my fire.
Who's next?
I've got two, actually.
Okay.
I've got Vintage RPG, which is a really, really cool page. And I know I'm not looking at the camera like I'm supposed to, but it's because I'm talking about these and I like scrolling through and looking at it. Vintage RPG, it's on Instagram, just at Vintage RPG, or possibly Vintager PG, but I'm pretty sure it's Vintage RPG. But it's really, really inspiring content. Like it's a lot of like that crazy 80s like book fronts. I don't even know what all this stuff is. I'm pretty sure it's mostly RPG, vintage RPGs,
Yeah.
but it's like just a ton of old school art and I love it. And the other one I wanted to plug is a guy named Carl Kapinski. Carl Kapinski. Where are you, Carl? There you are.
You gotta give us that spelling.
Yeah, so it's Carl K. It's at KARL, and then Kapinski is KOPINSKI. And he's this phenomenal sort of concept artist, character artist. He does tons and tons of drawings. His videos on YouTube are phenomenal. Like he's like a British, like he's so easy to listen to while he's drawing that he reminds me of like a British Bob Ross. But he's
Oh,
like
wow.
very, very different from Bob Ross in most other ways. But he's super fun and relaxing to listen to while he draws. And he draws with both hands, which is ridiculous at the same time. You know, like
Oh, wow.
he draws and he's got the water brush in the other hand. It's crazy to watch. But I actually bought his, I was telling Danny about this, and I think I mentioned it to you guys too, but I bought his most recent sketchbook, and he's doing a short thing where you can actually ask him to do a drawing in the front of it, and he'll do that in his new sketchbook. He'll pop a drawing in the front of it for you. Yeah. And I panicked because I love this guy and asked for, I couldn't think of anything. He's got so many different characters and stuff. So I panicked and asked for 7 dead flies, a drawing of 7 dead flies, and then sent it, and then was immediately like, Danny, comfort me. I did a really
Yeah.
stupid thing. I can't believe I did this. Like freaking Carl Kapinski's going to put a drawing in the front of this book for me, and I asked for 7 dead flies.
That does
But
feel like a good
anyway.
story to be able to
Yeah,
tell.
I mean, I would be upset because he could have asked for 8.
That's true. Like he's definitely good enough artist. He's like, what does he think I suck?
Yeah.
Like, why did he just ask for 7?
Just 7? Jeez. Love
The
it.
best part is
But
he's going to be so confused.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like he's going to
Also,
be like,
they
oh,
have
there's
to be
got to be
dead.
like some like super deep reasoning behind this. Like,
Nope.
yep.
What
or
what
he's
if
just
it,
going to be like,
yeah,
oh, another one of these guys trying to be random.
Oh, yeah.
what if his like
That too.
next portfolio is titled 7 Dead Flies? It's like a series of 7. You know, like
He
really-
just couldn't get it. He couldn't nail it, so he drew it like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
DB,
What about
you
you,
got?
Danny?
Oh, so I am still sharing some of the cataloged stuff that I've kept and will share at any opportunity. So this story is called Garg and Moonslicer.
Love
It
it.
is about an ogre who finds a sentient sword of a paladin. The sword is good, and the ogre is, most people assume it's evil. But it's kind of the blending of two like overplayed elements, I think. And so I like the exploration. And so the sword kind of teaches Garg how to behave, how to behave in a good way, even if he himself doesn't understand what good is. I think it's a really delightful story. So if you looked at the God of Arepo and you like that, you will probably really like Garg and Moonslicer. So I think it's just
That's
a great
awesome.
inspirational story. I would give credit to who did it, but I can't find it. So I don't know who originally wrote that story, but if you are one of our handful of listeners, I love your story. Write some more.
Be so nice, right? Is it a video or is it a like written story?
There's a guy on YouTube who narrates different stories, especially like D&D stories and stuff. He didn't create it, but when I did a Google search, he came up. But if you just search Garg and Moon Slicer being one word, you can find the story.
Very cool.
It's well worth the read.
It
Yeah,
is.
I just
I've
Googled
read
it, and
It's-
it was literally
yeah.
from like 18 different sources. Like, there's no
Yeah.
definitive source for it.
Love it. Love it.
That's awesome. So, mine this week is actually the 1,000-pound canvas. This is an actual Troika supplement that's available on itch.io. And it's a name your own price download. If you want to get it, if you've got the money to pay for it, it's well worth it. The 1,000-pound canvas that I referenced in this comes from that. And then there's all sorts. It's another 36 new backgrounds. You can play as the flaky crumb bum, the faithful bouncing disciple, or the nearly useless fail child. All backgrounds have a unique flavor, sure to fit in any of the spheres amongst the humpback sky. Included are also several new spells and a couple of weapons, as well as useful info for the anomalous 1,000-pound canvas. An immovable, countless layered painting which can transport players across time and space. It's awesome, and I actually know the dude that did it, and he's a really awesome dude. And
Nice.
so please support that. If you're listening to this, you obviously like Troika, and it's a really cool supplement. So Itch also, like itch.io, has some really, really amazing niche RPG content, not just for Troika, but for a ton of stuff. So if you're not familiar with them, level up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Also, on that note, just one additional small plug. I will also say, at this point, I believe by the time that this episode airs, I'm like 99.9% certain that Troika Fest will officially be over. So
It
for
will.
those of you out here who are listening and are not aware of what that is or have heard us talk about it and haven't actually Googled it, I highly recommend actually looking into their past. They've had a couple. They had one that was all about just making spheres. This one is much more open-ended. It included things like backgrounds, items, spheres as well. Just a very, like, anything you want to contribute to the Troikaverse. There are a bunch of submissions. As of the time we're recording this, which is still like end of April, there were already over 65, I think, submissions to the actual, just this current fest. And all of those are downloadable additional content. Most, if not all of the people that you are currently listening to will also be submitting to that fest. So check that out because we will all have independent work on there. Some of those things I'm sure you can see teaser wise if you do follow us on social media. If you don't and you've made it this far, what are you doing? Go at us. You can find us on Instagram at Sonderlings Podcast, all one word. We'll also be adding a Twitter thing soon, so keep an eye out for that. Add us on Facebook, like, subscribe here on YouTube, or follow us on whatever podcast listening software you are listening on, because if you've made it this far, we seriously love you and we want to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And on that note, we're done. Love all of you
Nice.
dearly. Thanks for hanging out. Later, nerds.
Couldn't have been better time. See you next
Oh
week.
boy.
Yeah.